Hi everybody, Carmen here with Quality Sewing and Vacuum. And for today's How Do I, we are going to go over how do I customize embroidery designs without using my computer. So what we're going to do today is we are going to go into, right now I'm sitting in front of the Baby Lock Altair, and I'm going to show you how on this machine you can edit, modify, combine different embroidery designs and some of the features that are all built into the machine itself, so you don't have to go to computer software. You can, of course, if you own computer software that does embroidery design editing and maybe digitizing, you can always do more in that software. But I love how many features are right now just built into our machines, which is so fun because it's so much easier to just be able to like hop into your machine, grab a design, grab some lettering, modify it how you want to, and then embroider it out, and I'll do it right here on these beautiful touch screens. So let's just get started here. So you can see here on this machine, most embroidery machines are going to have a similar sort of beginning screen where they're going to find out if you want to do sewing, because this is a sewing and embroidery combination machine, embroidery, or if they have a third thing. This machine also has IQ Designer, which is another editing feature. And today we're just going to talk about features inside embroidery. So we're going to go to embroidery here. And the first place that's going to go is to where you have all of your designs. So if you had a design on a USB stick, you could go pull it here. There's memories built into the machine. If you had built something previously, you could pull it there. If you had made something in your IQ Designer, you would click on it here to find it. But what we are going to do today is we are going to play with the different features that are built into the machine. So I thought it might be fun to create a quilt label, because that's one thing that we can do that can really customize our projects. And I always feel like this time of year, or really any time of the year, it is nice to customize our quilts in some way. So many machines have these borders here. So I'm going to start by going in here. These are all of these different borders that are built into the machine. So this can be really great for building a quilt label. You can see there's circles, there's squares, diamonds, hearts. I'm just going to grab a rectangle because that makes sense to me. And then you can see you can pick which stitch, how this is going to stitch, whether you want it to be a satin stitch like this. Maybe I'm like, ooh, that's too fat. I don't think I'm going to like that. I can go to cancel. Maybe I want to have a little prettier stitch like that one. But you can play and pick whichever one you like. I think for now, I'm going to go with this because this is going to be a nice little scalloped satin stitch. And I think this would make a really nice outline for my quilt label. So I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to go to set. And right now you can see it's pretty small. And I do have a really large hoop on, but we're going to make this pretty big just so we can play with it. And you can go here to edit. And you can see inside edit, I have a lot of different options. I can size it, I can move it, I can rotate it, I can mirror image it, I could duplicate it if I wanted to have more than one of them. I can adjust the density, lots of different options here. I can play with the thread colors. But the first thing we're going to do is go to size, and I want to make this bigger. I'm going to just grow these almost to the base of the full size of my hoop here, and I'm going to drag it up with my finger there. So that way, if let's say I was doing a couple of different things, I could build it all on this screen. I could make 2 quilt labels, for example, and build it all on this screen and make them very different and then embroider them all at one time. So now I'm going to go to OK, and I want to add some lettering or a design or something. So maybe we've made a quilt for someone who's graduating. So I'm going to go to fonts here. You can see there's lots of different fonts built into this machine. When I select here, there are all of these different fonts. And if you go down to the second screen here, there's even more. These are really small fonts. So if, for example, you really wanted to say a lot, you really wanted to, I don't know, have a really sort of a longer message for someone on a quilt label, you could use these smaller letters and you could really talk about a lot of different things. But you can see like fonts are fun to play with. Like here's some different fonts that we have stitched out, right? You can play with fonts. And fonts can really make things look different. And when I'm talking small, I'm talking little fonts like that are what the small fonts are. But we're going to play with some bigger fonts because I'm just going to make a simple message. So we're going to go back up here, and I think I'll start with this. And maybe I want to say, congrats, grad, because it's that time of year. Maybe you've made a quilt for someone who's graduating. So I am just finding all my letters here. And you can see this is looking pretty big. And right here I have my large, medium, small. So I'm going to say medium looks like it might be more the right size. Or I could see a small. Ooh, small is pretty small. But look how small even this font gets. A lot of the different fonts really allow you to manipulate their size, whether it be really big or really small. So I think I like the medium size. So I'm going to go back to medium. The other thing that you'll notice here on this screen is that you have a tab for either uppercase and then lowercase. You have all of the letters and you have symbols. Over here, you have all your punctuation, special characters. Really, everything that you might need is right here at your fingertips. And then with all of this lettering, you can also really manipulate it. So you could really change the shape of it. So if you wanted it to be curved in some way, or curved the other direction, or at a diagonal, you can really play with this. So for now, though, I think I'm going to just leave this straight. But I think I want to add some more. I think I want to say congrats, grad. So I'm going to add a space right here. And then I'm going to type in grad. There we go. I'm throwing an exclamation point. And then I'm going to go to set. And now once I go to set, I can move this guy up here. I could still go back to edit though. If let's say I didn't like what I was doing, I could still go back to edit. I could go here and edit the font again. I could array it again. I could adjust the size. So even though I had already picked my size, if I decide I actually wanted it smaller, I still can go back and do that even after I've gone and set it in my screen. So it's really nice how you can manipulate a lot of different things here. Okay, so I'm good with this, but I think I'm going to go to set and I'm going to go to add because I think I want to add something else. So maybe, for instance, this is for someone this is a fishing quilt that you're making, someone who's graduating, so they love to fish. So I'm going to go in here and we'll grab one little fishing dude here. He's a little bit big. So I'm going to go to edit there. I'm going to size him, make him a little bit smaller, and get this in there. So we have, and maybe I want to angle it a little bit because straight on, that little bobber doesn't look quite how I want it. So I want to angle it a little. I can adjust that there. What I love is that you can either drag everything with your finger on your screen, or you can also go in and hit move, where if you want to just do a micro movement, right, you can actually also just tap it one way or the other. So that way you have a lot of control. So you can either drag or you can tap things, or you can do things like this is really nice to know. If you wanted to have it go to the center of your hoop, you can always hit the center button and it will push it to the center of your hoop. But for our purposes, we want this inside our screen there. So we're going to go there and then we're going to go add some more letters. And maybe this time we want a different font just for something fun. And then maybe this person's name is John. So we're going to congratulate John here. And we'll give it a space. Let's say this person's name is John. And maybe should we throw in John's last name? I don't know. We'll just say congrats, grad, John, we'll say class of 2023. And now I think I want to this machine has a really cool thing called multi-line lettering. So a lot of machines don't necessarily have this feature. They will allow you to make one line and then you have to go back and make another line and then go back and make another line. What's cool about this machine is when I hit the enter button here, it is going to go down and it's going to make a second line of lettering for me. So maybe here I want to say class of, I don't want spacing that way. I'll adjust that in a second, of 2023. And maybe I want that to be a little bit smaller because we want John's name bigger. And then this is also where I could adjust spacing here. So maybe I wanted the spacing between my letters to be bigger or smaller. I can stretch it out and make it bigger, or I can make it smaller. And I can play with that right here all on the screen. So I think I am good with that. So I'm going to go set, and then I'm going to set this up there. And then maybe I want to add just one more thing. I want to add who this is from. So I go to add here and I go back to another piece of lettering. You can see that you can just keep manipulating it and playing with it. So maybe now I want to say love grandma. And we'll add this in here and my comma and my space. Got to find all my letters here. Obviously that's too big. So this is what's fun. It's saying, hey, do you want me to rotate this 90 degrees? Well, we don't want to do that. We want to hit return and we want to say, we need to make this smaller. Grandma doesn't need to be that big. So I think medium is going to be a good size. And maybe with the spacing here, maybe I want to array it a little bit or play with it. I think we'll just leave it straight. You could also, when you array it like this, then you could make it so it's just barely arrayed, right? So it's just a little bit and not as strong of a curve. But I think for this purpose, I'm going to leave it straight. And I'm going to tighten up my letters a little bit. So I want it to be just a little bit smaller. And then when I go to set here, I can set this in here. Maybe I need to top that over a little bit. And so now I've made a really simple quilt label here that I could go and embroider this all the way out. So really easy to modify right in here. And then if, let's say, we just wanted to do something in the bottom screen here, maybe I want to go add one of these emojis. And I just want to show you how fun some of this can be. We could drop this guy in here because it doesn't have to be, obviously editing here was for a quilt label. And then down here, you could create something else and play with it. And I'm just going to add some quick lettering here that says sunshine, because I want to show you how that emoji, how it's fun to use the array when you're using things that are circular. So maybe we'll say sunshine. I don't know about you, but I am ready for more sunshine. And then this is really where playing with this, you could get it just how you want it. I think maybe that's a little bit big. We'll make it a little bit smaller. And then when I go to set here, I can drag this guy down. But then if I wanted to manipulate this angle, right, I can still go back to edit here and go to that font. And I can manipulate this array angle a little bit more now that it's placed where I want it. And this is sort of what I was talking about before. You can make it tighter, or you can make it a little bit looser, all depending on what you think is going to look great to the angle of your design. And I have just combined those things together. So really easy to manipulate here on screen. There's also some fun things you can do. There's this great selection bar down here. So if, let's say, you want to select different items inside here, you can flip through and see them all so you know which one you're going to go edit. All right there. It shows you all of the thread colors here for all of the different designs, but you can still always pop back out and go to edit and do more editing, add more designs, take things away. And if, let's say, you loved this, you can also save this into your memory. So that way you can use it again later, and then it is ready to go. So really easy to customize your designs in your machine. Lots of different cool features that are built into all different levels of embroidery machines. Even really basic machines are going to have some way for you to combine designs generally. And the more advanced the machine, it's going to give you more and more features to allow you to do editing right on screen. There's even some machines out there that will redigitize them and do all sorts of cool things. So I hope sounds like we have a question.
Well, someone had commented about the bees in the background. So I was wondering if you could tell us about the bees, where those came from.
Yes. So these bees are built into the Baby Lock Solaris. And this is actually one really large design that is put together via pattern connection, which is really cool. And then this is some of the fonts that are built into the Solaris. And so this is this new style one that is done with sort of like yarn couching, which is really fun. But then this is like a regular design. And this is sort of a fun example of how you can combine things to make your embroidery however you want it. So that's a fun one. We also have back here, over here you have some flowers that were put together with some with some different fonts. I almost said typography, but same thing here. We've just embroidered on a pig there. So you can do lots of different things with the fonts that are built into your machine to customize whatever you are doing. And you can also combine full-on embroidery design. So it doesn't have to just be fonts and a design or fonts alone. You can really combine anything that you want to all together and use those borders and use all of those cool things that are built into your machine. So go play with your machine, see what you can do, and we'd love to see what creations you come up with.